Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Quarantine Bunker Studio. I am your man in Japan, Jay Contra, and I'm here to talk about the current situation with the thing that I can't talk about because YouTube might demonetize me. So I've been receiving a lot of questions about what's going on in Japan, how is this affecting me, and I also want to answer some questions about how this might be affecting anyone who wants to come and visit Japan within the next 3 months, 6 months, even frankly a year going forward from this. So I'm filming this. I think I should have it up the same day. This is the first or second week of April. Days have started to lose all meaning. I've been very fortunate that my office has shut down. It's been shut down for quite a while. So I've been working from home. However, that was very proactive by Japanese standards, because for the longest time, you had this outbreak happening in South Korea, Taiwan, China. That was going on really, I mean, technically, I guess since November or whenever this whole thing started, but really you started hearing the news about it in January and February, but Japan was just like, no, everything's perfectly fine. Let's just keep business as normal. And really up until the Olympics got canceled. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I don't think they were trying to cover anything up. I just think that when the Olympics actually got canceled, that's when a lot of people started thinking, oh, this is serious. We need to start taking action now to actually make sure that this doesn't become a full-fledged outbreak in the country. And if you've been following the news in Japan, that seems to actually what's been happening. Whatever action they've taken before has not been enough. And we've seen this sort of delayed outbreak happening here in Japan. So how is this going to affect everyone who wants to come to Japan to visit? Because people had plans to come and visit during the Olympics, to come over the summer. I know lots of people from Europe come over during July, August time. Well, I honestly, if I was you, I just would not come to Japan in the year 2020 now. Especially not within the next 3 months. But really, I think the next 3 months are going to be the hardest for Japan. I think that's where if I gaze into my crystal ball, I think we're going to experience the same things that they're experiencing like on the East Coast of America right now. In Italy, Japan is just ripe. I can tell you that the last time I went to the office, this is about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have thought, there wouldn't be so many people on this train at 7 o'clock in the morning going into the heart of Tokyo. But guess what? It was packed. Everyone was wearing face masks, but it was still like crammed full of people. And there weren't that many cases back then, but especially now. And actually, I did ride the train to go get some groceries the other day. And at a time that is on a Friday night, when actually usually it's pretty packed on the train that I take. But the last time I went, actually there weren't that many people. So I think Japan is finally starting to take things seriously. But again, I just don't think it's been enough, and it didn't happen early enough. So next 3 months, I'm saying absolutely do not come to Japan. Next 6 months, like if you want to come Tokyo Game Show time, I don't think if they've actually announced anything for Tokyo Game Show. I think it really hit me when they canceled Comiket, because Comiket, if you don't know, is the big sort of comic doujinshi festival and cosplay event that happens in Tokyo every summer and winter. It's like every August and December. And actually this year it was supposed to happen in May. I was really looking forward to it. It's going to happen during Golden Week, which is going to be like 4 days of some brilliant cosplay. But that got canceled, and that makes sense. Tokyo Game Show, I'm assuming, is up in the air because I've heard a lot of events. I think, didn't E3 get canceled? Even though, who's paying attention to E3 anymore? So yeah, there's really no reason to come to Japan within the next 6 months. I would just wait out the whole year. Just a lot of airlines are freeing up or making it possible to change your flights for free. I would do that. But what happens if you are already in the country right now, or you're here on, urgent business, or for whatever reason, if you're here in Japan right now, what's going to be available to you in terms of all of the retro game shops and really just shopping in Tokyo and sort of Japan in general? Well, from what I've seen is kind of surprising and maybe disappointing, I suppose, that, so for example, like Trader. Trader is one of my favorite shops in Akihabara to go to, and their response to the whole COVID outbreak is not to close the shop, but to shorten their working hours by like 2 hours. So now instead of being open from 10 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, they're open from 11 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. So a lot of the regular working hours have changed slightly. So that will affect you if you're already here. You've got to, the thing is that I've noticed that Google Maps has not really updated because a lot of this is happening either spur of the moment or it's only being announced on social media. That's something that really you need to look out for, is if you have a particular store in mind, like Mandarake, Super Potato, Trader, these are all shops with active social media feeds. And even if you just search for it in English, like if you just type in Trader Akihabara, find their Twitter page, they will have the most up-to-date information on this kind of stuff because Google Maps won't have it. Another big thing that's happened, especially where I live in Yokohama, which is part of the big Tokyo metropolis, but not officially a part of Tokyo. It's a whole different state, as it were. The government here has sort of mandated that shopping malls and big business centers close down on the weekends. So you'll have places like Surugaya in Yokohama City. It will be open during the week because it's part of a big shopping mall, but it will be closed on the weekends. So if you're in Japan and you want to do something on the weekend, I would really just not count on being able to do it. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be able to call these places unless you speak Japanese, but if you can just at the very least find their Twitter I don't think many of them have Facebook pages, but they'll usually have Twitter pages that will post either changes to their store hours, their operating hours, or if they're actually going to be closed or open or at all, which at this case, I know a couple days ago, the national government issued not lockdown orders, but state of emergency orders in like Osaka, Tokyo, and a few other places. But a lot of these states of emergency don't really have teeth to them, so they're not lockdown. So it's still, as far as I know, business as usual in Tokyo. I think you could probably still walk into Super Potato at like 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon and still get in. So if you're here in Japan, there's still a possibility to go buy retro games, but at this point, I don't see why you would want to risk it. You should probably stay in your hotel, apartment, Airbnb, wherever you're staying. But the thing is that if you actually are in Japan, you can have a lot of this stuff delivered to you. Although I think, yes, Super Potato unfortunately closed down its online shop a year or two ago. However, Surugaya, Mandarake to a limited extent, but yeah, I mean, even Hard Off and Book Off, they have online shopping malls where you can order stuff and have it delivered to you. So if you're in Japan for whatever reason and you want access to still cheap retro games and you don't want to pay for the international shipping, which sometimes they don't even offer, just have it delivered to your hotel room. It's relatively easy. I'm sure you can Google Translate some stuff. I know Surugaya has an English website now that maybe is not completely fully functional, but for the time being, if that's what you have access to, then I highly recommend doing that rather than going onto a crowded Tokyo subway train and possibly catching or spreading the disease. So I think overall, let me just restate, don't plan on coming to Japan in the year 2020. Definitely not within the next 6 months. I would come in the fall. Fall's a great time. Spring would have been a phenomenal time to come and visit this country. Don't come in the summer because, for one, it's really hot and miserable. Two, probably still going to be an ongoing pandemic at the time. But yeah, plan for the fall. Honestly, even just plan for 2021. Come here before the Olympics hit, because that's going to be really crazy. So for that, that's all I have to say. I'm doing okay. Like I said, I've been working from home. No problems to report from me. and we're just gonna get through this. I've actually been playing a lot more video games now than I have ever since I moved to Tokyo. So I've got at least that going for me. So I'm gonna end it here before I continue rambling. I've been your man in Japan, Jay Contra, saying thanks for watching, see you next time, and mahalo.